Traditional Chinese bow. Right hand fist representing power. Left hand fingers together representing friendship. Tucking in the thumb representing humility. And the fist goes into the palm and we say welcome. Back in the ancient days of China, the Chinese would, there was like 13 or more languages spoken throughout the country. And you would get around the country by walking around. And so most likely you would meet someone and you couldn't speak their language. And so the bow became a way of kind of like a handshake in a way. And so this became the bow. When you met somebody on the road, you would bow as a sign of respect. Unless you, I've heard, and I've never been able to confirm this, that you would, like if your hand was flat, it was like, hey, how are you doing? Have a good day. If you kind of curved your hand, it's like, hey, how about you and me throw down, see who the better guy on this road is. You know how guys are, right? Or if you wrapped your hand around your fist, it's like we're gonna have a fight, and one of us isn't gonna walk away from it. So, so we keep our hand nice and flat. We're here for health, right? So, but it's actually kind of similar to like a handshake. You know, the handshake really originally started to show someone that you weren't holding a weapon in your hand, and that's how the salute also started. Was you were showing someone you salute with your right hand. Most people are right-handed. Show them you don't have a weapon. So this is your hand. You'll see people will sometimes rotate their hand out to show you that they don't have a weapon in their hand. So it's interesting how all that evolves. All right, breathing, standing feet shoulder hip distance apart. Nice gentle bend in the knees. Tuck in the tailbone. Head is lifted by a silk thread. Good straight body posture in this direction. And good straight body posture in this direction. We're going to breathe from the belly, all right? Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Push the hands in front of us next. Inhale, hands to the heart. Exhale, push the palms forward. Inhale. And exhale. Big, deep belly breath in. Long, slow breath out. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Arms over the head next. Inhale, hands to the heart. Exhale, push the palms to the ceiling. Inhale. And exhale. Big, deep belly breath in and long, slow breath out. Inhale and exhale. Now, as you do this, keep looking straight ahead. Don't be looking down at the ground. Look straight out in front of you, all right? Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. We go nice and slow. Big, deep belly breath in and long, slow breath out. Inhale and exhale. Arms to the side. Inhale to the heart. Exhale, push the palms out, fingertips up. Feel the nice stretch in the arms. Inhale and exhale. Keep that head lifted by the silk thread. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. One more time, arms to the side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. Arms in the diagonals. Inhale, hands to the heart. Exhale, left hand up, right hand down. Keep that upper body nice and straight as you do this. Inhale to the heart. Exhale, right hand up and left hand down. Try and keep that upper body. There you go. Inhale. And exhale. Keep looking straight ahead as you do this and keep that upper body straight. Inhale. And exhale. Keep looking straight in front of you. Inhale. And exhale. Good job. Inhale. And exhale. Keep that upper body nice and straight. Inhale to the heart. Exhale, relax the hands down. Sometimes as we get older, our shoulders start to get stiff. And when we want to bring our arm up, it doesn't quite make it. So we try to do this to get our arm to go a little higher. That starts to make you into a fall risk, all right? So I'd much rather you keep the body straight and only get your arm up this high than to try and do this. Because eventually we hope to get your shoulder flexibility that you're able to do this without doing this, all right? But either way, if you have to reach higher and your arm can only go this high, then maybe get a step stool or have somebody help you out, okay? But you want to always keep this good straight body posture, because every time you shift your upper body, you're making your brain try and figure out where your center of gravity is, okay? Flap the arms like bird wings. Big, deep belly breath in. And long, slow breath out. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And lastly, gathering chi. Big, deep belly breath in. Long, slow breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Good posture, everybody. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. There you go. There's our breathing exercises. And if you ever want to know how bad of a pain in the keister I am about posture, ask Pat. But it's helped, hasn't it? So, in my years of teaching Tai Chi, I've seen when people get their posture correct and they get their leg strength back, because we lose leg strength just as we get older. We generally start to lose leg strength. So when they get their posture back, get the leg strength back, generally their balance comes back after that. Okay? And so that's why I'm such a stickler on posture. Poor Pat had to endure that with me. Yeah, you really do. And when you have Parkinson's, you have to work at it. And this is something your spouses can help you with, because they can notice when you're leaning, and let you know gently. Obviously, you never want someone to nag at you, but I'm sure your spouses never nag. We used to do this with my mother. In fact, here's a little hint I'll give you. We did this with my mom. With Parkinson's, you get a weak side and a rigid side. You tend to lean towards the weak side. And it especially happens when you're tired. And this happened with my mother. When she was tired, she would slump over to her right-hand side. And so if we were with family, we'd go, "Hey, Mom, you're kind of slumping a little bit. Go ahead. You're kind of listening to the right, Mom. Sit up straight." And she would. If we were in a group of people, though, you never want to, correct. You never want to be corrected in front of a group of people. But what we would do, we made a signal where we would tap our ring on a piece of furniture, like the arm of the chair or something. And that was my mom's signal that she wasn't sitting up straight and tall. And so it made a nice little signal that only she knew about it, and us kids were the only ones that knew about it. but that was a good way just so she could, she would just right herself again. Uh, I've got two siblings, so yeah, we were all in for mom. So my mom was an amazing lady. Anyway, that worked as a really good signal. So maybe something you want to consider doing if you're having problems with your posture, because you've heard me say it. The posture you use when you sit also is the same posture you use when you stand. So it kind of gets entrenched in the brain. All right. All right, warm-up exercises, starting with the chin tuck. We keep looking straight ahead, feel like someone's gently pushing back on the chin, feel this nice stretch on the back of our neck, all right? So from the Wuji position, we float the hands up in front of us, hands to the chest, tucking in the chin while looking straight ahead. Hands come out, the chin gently floats up, and we sink the chin to the chest. Again, we float the hands up in front of us. Hands to the chest, tucking in the chin. Feel the nice stretch on the back of the neck. Keep that chin level. Hands come out, the chin gently floats up, and sink the chin down to the chest. Again, we float the hands up in front of us. Keep that chin level, tuck in the chin. Feel the nice stretch on the back of the neck. Hands come out, chin gently floats up, and sink the chin to the chest. Beautiful. Next neck exercise, we're going to look side to side. We start out in the prayer hand position. Tai Chi ball, left hand on top, palms are facing one another. Just turning the neck, watch the right hand going over the right shoulder. I look to the right and gently push down on the left hand. And come back to center, back to prayer hands. Tai Chi ball, now the right hand is on top. Watch the left hand going over the left shoulder, look to the left and gently push down on the right hand. And come back to center, prayer hands. Pause for 1 second. So as you turn, you're trying to turn the neck right at the base of the skull, top of the spine, all right? So as I turn my neck, I keep my head straight and I look off into the distance over my shoulder. So I'm not looking down here, but you see how my head is now turned as I'm looking down. But instead, I rotate it at the base of the skull. So you keep your head nice and straight, okay? There you go. Prayer hand position. Tai Chi ball, left hand on top. Right hand over the right shoulder, look to the right, push down on the left. And come back to center, come back to prayer hands. Tai Chi ball, right hand on top. Left hand, left shoulder, look left, gently push down on the right. And come back to center. One more time. Tai Chi ball, left hand is on top. Look over the right shoulder, bring the right hand with you. Keep the upper body nice and straight as you do that. And come back to center. Tai Chi ball, right hand on top. Left hand, left shoulder, look left, gently push down on the right hand. And come back to center, come back to prayer hands. And relax the hands down. Excellent. Forward shoulder circles. Try and keep the waist still, meaning that we're not bending forward, all right? So we bring the shoulders back, then up, then forward and down. Shoulders back, up, forward, and down. One more time. Back, up, forward, and down. Go ahead and clip your microphone back on if you need to. Go the other direction. Forward, up, back, and down. Keep looking straight in front of you as you do this. Forward, up, back. One more time. Forward, up, back, down. All right, I'm going to get a headset mic here soon. I know it. Gathering chi, we're gently reaching for infinity. Gently reaching out, reaching up. Feel that beautiful stretch. And relax the hands down. Again, gently reaching out, reaching up. Keep looking straight in front of you. And relax the hands down. Imagine that someone is very gently pulling at your wrist. So as you do this, you feel a stretch in your shoulder and your elbow. You'll feel it in the chest and the back. And relax the hands down. Excellent. Touching heaven and earth, we're lifting the head up by the silk thread. Prayer hand position. Left hand pushes up, the right hand pushes down, stretching the spine. And come back to center. Right hand up, left hand down, gently stretching the spine. And back to center. Good job. Left hand up, right hand down, float the head gently to the ceiling. And come back to center. Right hand up, left hand down, gently stretch that spine. And back to center. Excellent. One more time. You guys are doing awesome. Left hand up, right hand down, float the head gently to the ceiling. Come back to center. Right hand up, left hand down, gently stretching the spine. And come back to center, prayer hands. And relax the hands down. Carrying the ball side to side. We're not moving the hips. We're turning our belly button from the left side to the right. Okay? Prayer hand position. Tai Chi ball, left hand on top. Gently turn to the left. Turn the ball over, right hand's on top. And gently turn to the right. Stay on the right side as you turn the ball over. Left hand's on top. Keep the body posture nice and straight. Turn gently to the left. Imagine the body is spinning or turning around the spine. Turn the ball over, right hand's on top, and gently turn to the right. Turn the ball over, left hand's on top. Now, as you turn to the left, keep your head up, looking at, like, imagine you're watching a horizon as you gently turn to the left. That's going to help you keep your posture nice and straight. And then we turn the ball over, right hand's on top, and gently turn to the right. Again, kind of watch the horizon. Excellent, good. And then we turn the ball over, we come back to center, and relax the hands down. Beautiful. Shake those legs loose. We're going to do one more exercise, and then we're going to have a seat, all right? Are you gentlemen having fun? Jim was here yesterday, so he's heard my jokes, but what do you call a Christmas wreath made of $100 bills? Aretha Franklin's. All right, so now you get dad Christmas jokes. What more could you want in life? All right, so I talked about posture, talked about leg strengthening. This exercise helps us with strengthening our legs. It is also a really good exercise because it helps our body kind of find that center of gravity, find that center for our posture, all right? So in this exercise, we concentrate on keeping the knee bent and keeping the body nice and straight. Use your chair if you need to, okay? The other thing, if you feel like you're doing good with the knee bent, body straight, practice on keeping the foot relaxed. A lot of times when we challenge our balance, our foot tries to like claw or grab at the floor. Instead, we want to keep the foot relaxed, all right? So that's another thing to kind of think about, all right? So weight shifts to the left, bending the left knee, right foot, cat stance. Tap, right toe to the front, empty. And cat stance. Tap, right toe to the side. Keep that head lifted by that silk thread so you have that good straight body posture. Learn to feel what your feet are doing. Cat stance. And tap, right toe behind us. Keep all the weight forward on the left. And cat stance. And return to Wu Ji. I'll give you one hint about this. Keep that head lifted by the silk thread. Don't get in the habit of looking down at your feet. If you keep that head lifted by the silk thread, it's going to help your posture and help your balance. All right. Your head weighs about 10 pounds, 11 pounds. So imagine when you're doing this with your head, if you're holding a 10-pound bowling ball and you do this with the bowling ball, how much harder it is to hold at that point. So you're making your body make that adjustment. Okay. Weight shifts to the right, keeping a bend in the right knee, left foot, cat stance. Tap, left toe to the front, empty, and cat stance. Left foot to the side, and cat stance. And then left foot behind us. Keep all the weight forward on the right as you tap the left foot behind you. Good spacing with the feet though, gentlemen. And cat stance. It's a challenge, isn't it? Pardon me? And come back to Wu Ji. And that's what you need to practice on. And this is you're a tall guy, so kitchen counters are a great place. When you're by the kitchen, just use that kitchen counter and think, I'm going to look at something straight in front of me, and just practice. Just practice, just really easy, tapping the one foot next to the other and getting out of the habit of looking down. You'll find it makes a big difference. All right, and that's part of it. We're just trying to retrain the body to do what's more healthy for it. So don't get mad at yourself. You've been doing it for years, and you're a tall guy, so it's a long way down there. So um, but it's just trying to retrain the body to not automatically do this when your balance is challenged. So don't get mad. Just all right. I know what I need to work on. All right, excellent, gentlemen. Let's have a seat. All right. So, got something to talk to you about for just a minute. No, you're not in trouble. um, just wanted to let you know something going on with me. I've got a health issue happening. I have a tumor in my head. It's non-cancerous, so it is curable, but it's going to have to be taken care of, and it's going to take me out of action for a little while I get this dealt with. All right. So it's called an acoustic neuroma, and in our head, we have like three nerves. We have a balance nerve, a hearing nerve, and a facial nerve. And this tumor is wrapped around like all three nerves on my right hand side. They discovered it with an MRI. I was losing hearing in this ear. And so they ran an MRI and discovered this tumor. And so my choices are to do nothing, which isn't really a good idea because that could be fatal at that point. So depending on how fast it grows. So I don't really consider that an option. My wife at times might, but not, They have what they call radiation, a gamma knife, but that just kind of kicks the can down the road. It doesn't really remove it. It just kind of pushes it further down. And that doesn't really sound like a good option to me. And I'm almost guaranteed I'd lose my hearing in my right ear if I do that. So that doesn't seem like a really good option. So I'll probably have it operated on. And in fact, I just found out yesterday. They were talking about probably operating on me in late January. I just found out yesterday they moved that up based on my symptoms progressing. So even after I got out of class yesterday, they pushed it up. So right now it looks like I'm going to be operated on January the 4th. And that's brand not that many people know about that yet. Only family members know that yet. But the operation's pretty extensive. I'm on the table for 6 to 10 hours, maybe more, under anesthesia. I've got a neurosurgeon and then a guy who specializes in this type of tumor that they work together. I open up my head and make a pathway, and then the other guy kind of removes the tumor one fiber at a time because it's wrapped around all of these nerves. So he's very, very careful trying to take it out so he doesn't damage the nerves. And my tumor is a little bit more centrally located. So it looks like it's kind of sitting next to the brain stem, which is of concern. So they want to make sure they don't do any damage to the brain stem also. So I want them to be very careful about this, to say the least. Um, so 6 to 10 hours on the table, 1 week in the hospital to recover. Well, they say 2 to 5 days, maybe more. It just depends on how fast I recover from the surgery. Um, 2 weeks of heavy narcotics, 3 weeks I can't drive, and 6 weeks until I can resume a normal schedule. So I would be out at least 6 weeks. So that would put me to about Valentine's Day, as it were. Um, Reason I'm telling you this is just so you guys know if I have to miss a class or something like that for doctor's visits, please. We've got Dennis who is able to fill in. Dennis' wife is having some health problems, so there may be times when he can't make it. So if we have to cancel a class, just please offer me grace. And I know it's frustrating sometimes, but um, we're doing the best we can. I've got some other people that can fill in also, um, but Dennis is absolutely wonderful. So I'd like to get Dennis to fill in if we can, but his first priority is to take care of his wife. So, and my first priority has to be my health, and I can't overdo it. The surgeon has told me, in no uncertain terms, he said, "You're young, you're in good shape." He said, "At week 4, you're going to feel like you're like back to full speed." He said, "Don't do it." He said, "Don't do it because you can start leaking spinal fluid into your brain." He said, "And then we have to do a lumbar punch on you," which doesn't sound like fun at all. So, anyway, I'm not going to be talking about it much in class. If you want to keep up with it and like during the surgery and that kind of stuff, there's a website called caringbridge.org, CARINGBRIDGE, caringbridge.org. If you go to that website, you can type in my name under the search and it'll pop up. There's like a half a dozen returns. There's a picture of me doing Tai Chi and a picture of me with my wife. And so that's how we're pushing information out to people, because I want this to be a Tai Chi class, not a Craig's Health class. If you want to keep up to date on what's going on, like if you want to see what's happening on January 4th, my wife will be updating there because we're updating our families that way and everything. So, because otherwise it just gets too messy. Who have we updated and who haven't we? So, anyway, so that's the nuts and bolts of it. If you will see on the Caring Bridge, in my family, we name stuff because it kind of makes it a third person, which makes it easier to be mad at the third person. So we named the tumor Todd. So it'll say Craig and Todd's Adventure. So trying to keep our sense of humor about it as much as we can. So so when you see Craig, and the Todd is from the movie Christmas Vacation. Has everyone seen that movie here? With Chevy Chase. So Todd is the annoying neighbor next door that nobody wants around. So Todd and Margot are those annoying neighbors. So so that's why we decided to name the tumor Todd. It just seemed appropriate. And then kind of along those lines, I mentioned it yesterday. It looks like, I guess, on January 3rd, I'm going to invite a bunch of people over, and we're going to watch the movie Young Frankenstein before we before I go into the knife. So, it's unfortunate, but it could be a lot worse. And I think Tai Chi's prepared me for it. So, any questions? Sorry you had to hear it twice. So, prayers for my wife. Oh, thank you. Robin. Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you. And my wife is a nurse. She's in the cardiology field, but she's a nurse, so she's, say the least, is stressing out. And my daughters are trying to be brave, but yes, Robin. Yes, thank you. So, and if you're a praying people, if you want to offer up prayers, I will take all the prayers you can get for my family and for the steady hands of the surgeon and the knowledge of surgeons, because I mean it's pretty wild when you think about what they're doing. So, because they actually cut a hole in your head and they move part of your brain to the side to create a channel to get to the tumor. Doesn't that sound like fun? Not at all. All right. Any questions? And I'm happy to answer questions after class or something also if you have any. Okay. All right. Let's do some more Tai Chi. Let's do it from the seated position. Let's work our legs a little bit from the chair. All right. Thanks for giving me a moment to explain all that. So if I'm missing a class or something, pardon me?
Well, harass you if you're late or.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Or if you see me kind of do this with my balance and grab onto the wall, because yeah, it's given me a whole new appreciation because my balance has always been good, and the last couple of days my legs are starting to go numb, and so like I was at one of the surgeons, the guy who does the ENT part. I was there 3 weeks ago today, 2 or 3 weeks ago today, and I could walk eyes open, 1 foot in front of the other. I can't do that now. It's a real struggle for me to walk 1 foot in front of the other. A couple weeks, yeah. So, and like I said, my legs are starting to feel kind of like when your legs fall asleep. And that's the way my legs have felt for the past 2 days. So it's been a little concerning. And apparently the doctor was concerned because I talked to, let me see, when did I talk to? I talked to him. The one surgeon, the ENT surgeon, called me yesterday before I came to class, and because my wife sent him a note and said I don't like what I'm seeing here, and so he called me and talked to me, and that was right before I came into class at 11 o'clock. So I talked to him about 10:30, and by the time I got out of class, my wife called and said he's talked to the neurosurgeon and they've lined you up with a date and moved it up a month. So apparently he didn't like the balance. Yeah, and she sees me holding on to walls, which I've never done before. So apparently that's a sign that it might be pushing on my brainstem. So
So like when you're walking up steps,
I'm holding on to a rail for about a week now. Or when I stand up, a lot of times I'll just stop and just kind of stabilize myself or hold on to a wall if I need to. So just to kind of I was losing hearing in my ear, but I thought, man, I could have abused my hearing when I was younger, so it might have been that. So that wasn't overly concerning, although I've always been protective of my hearing. But then I started to get a pain in the right hand side, like back here. I would get a pain in my head, and I was like, those two things are too coincidental that I'm losing hearing and I have this pain. So now I need to make sure I get it checked out. And so I went to an audiologist and they checked my hearing, and my hearing in this ear is 3 times worse than this. And the doctor goes, the only time we see this is if it's they say it's asymmetrical hearing. The only time we see it if something else is wrong or environmental. He said, like, a truck driver keeps the window open. He said their left ear, they won't hear as well. He said, so we need to get it checked out. And that's when they did the MRI. And the MRI, it's when you see the size of the tumor, it's 2 millimeter, it's 2 centimeters, so like 3/4 of an inch tumor. But that looks huge on an MRI. So, and so, when we saw the tumor, it's like, oh, well, that explains a lot now. But then it seemed to start like spinning up rapidly in just terms of, they say, I mean, this tumor's supposed to grow at a very slow rate, like 1 millimeter a year. And so they said, you've got time to work on this. Like, I don't think I do, gentlemen. And I think they finally realized that yesterday. So they're kind of spinning it up a little bit. So, all right. So when we sit Tai Chi style, we sit up on the edge of the chair, feet flat on the floor, knee directly over the heel. We rock forward on the pelvis, head is lifted by a silk thread. Seriously, practice sitting this way a little bit every day. When you're watching the Blues lose, you can sit up nice and straight and tall while you see them get their rear ends kicked. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it allows the energy to flow better. Exactly. There you go. There you go. I like that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I like that. Let's do, let me see, we're about to shorten it up here a little bit. Let's do our hip exercise. Two motions with the leg. Lift the knee up, push the foot down. Keep the back straight and keep the body straight. All right? So we're sitting up nice and straight and tall. Start with the left leg. We lift the left knee to the chest, hands behind us. Keep the back and the body straight. Good job. Float the hands and the heel to the ground, hands in front of us, and push down on the left foot hard as you can. Keep that back straight as you do this. And relax. Lift the left knee to the chest, keeping the back and the body straight. Keep that head lifted by the silk thread. And relax. Hands in front of us, push down on the left foot hard as you can. Push, 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 and relax. So I'm not picking on you, but this is a good chance to practice the not looking at the feet. All
I
right.
already thought of that about 4 times.
Okay, good. So now you're aware of it and you work from there. Okay. Left leg, lift the left knee to the chest, keeping the back and the body straight. And relax. And hands in front of us and push down on the left foot hard as you can. Push, 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 push. And relax. And you won't be offended if I remind you of it when I see you, right? Okay. All right. Because I'm not picking on you. Not yet, anyway. Right. Right knee. Pick the right. Sorry, I'm like, did you see Pat raised his hand? Right knee. Pick the right knee up to the chest, keeping the back and the body straight. I didn't pick on you. Pardon me? Yeah, there you go. Push the right foot down hard as you can. Push, 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 and relax. Lift the right knee to the chest, keeping the back and the body straight. And relax. Hands in front of us. Push down on the right foot hard as you can. Push, 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 and relax. One more time. Lift the right knee to the chest and relax. Great job. And push the right foot down. Push, 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 and relax. Beautiful. Shake those legs loose. I really try to not single people out, but I also want to make sure you have the right tools you need to be successful. So, I can I tell them the story about your posture? Do you mind? So Pat had been to class about 3, 4 times, I think. And I went up to him after class. I said, "Do you realize you're leaning a little bit?" He said, "No." And so he was leaning to one side. So I straightened him up. And I remember you're like, "That feels weird." And that's what made me kind of rethink how people with Parkinson's. I think when you lean for a while, your body's like, "This must be normal." So you were the one that helped me discover that. Because then I,
Shane, if somebody came up with that, I've been walking like this since I was 25.
mm-hmm, yeah,
And 2 years before I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, one of my sons was and said, "Dad, why are you always shuffling your feet?" I said, "What do you mean?" You're not fit." "Yeah, I am." "You're not, Dad." And a year later, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's.
yep. Your son saw it. You've that's a very observant son.
Yeah.
That's very observant. Um, but part of that is mechanics, though, also, because when you think of it, so in Tai Chi, so we haven't gotten there in this class yet, but when you lean forward, you kind of restrict the movement to be able to lift the knee. Where if you stay straight, it's easier to lift the knee. When you're forward, it's harder to lift the knee. And so you get in the point where you're just like you're doing a controlled fall. You're sticking your foot out to make sure that you don't fall because your weight is always forward. And so what they teach you in Tai Chi, we haven't gotten there yet, we'll get there in this class, is to keep your weight back, step out empty, and shift weight. Step out empty, shift weight. Keep your weight back and step out empty. Yes. Now step out empty. and then shift weight. And step out empty. Right, exactly. It gives you more room to lift your knee now when you walk. I can show you some things that can help you with that also. But when you lean forward, just the mechanics of the body, you start to go into like you control yourself. You kind of go into a mode where, what's the best way to describe this? When you watch people when they walk, and I've done this, I didn't do this before I taught Tai Chi. A lot of people, especially describing exactly the way that you walk, when you lean forward, you're putting your foot out to keep you from falling. And I'm kind of exaggerating, but not by much. And so you kind of, you have to have this foot out here or you're going to fall, right? In Tai Chi, they teach you to stand up straight like this empty step forward, and then shift your weight. Empty step and then shift weight. And so if you step wrong, it doesn't matter because you can put this foot wherever you want to put it. And so then you're not doing that controlled fall. That also slows things down for you. I think this is helpful for everybody here.
So if I, so mentally, so I'm starting out straight down.
So let's do this. Go ahead and stand up, gentlemen. We're gonna depart from. We're gonna go through it. No, this is important for everybody. I think everybody here needs to learn this. So, no, I'm okay with this. And this is why I'm here, is to teach things like this. So I'm going to teach you a stance called the bow step or bow stance. All right. It looks like this. I'll show, we'll break it down. We'll break it down. But the whole purpose of this movement is to do an empty step out. Okay. So just one piece at a time, one piece at a time. So the Chinese have what they call an empty step, all right? And it comes from a term, an empty bucket on the ground, all right? So you can have, this is the way the Chinese name stuff. So you can set a bucket on the ground and it can be an empty bucket. So it doesn't have any weight on it, but it's still on the ground, all right? And so that's where they came up with this term, an empty step. So when I step out, the step is empty, meaning that there's no weight on the foot. All my weight is back on this foot, so this foot is empty. And then I shift weight onto it. All right? So exactly, yeah, it's straight out in front of you. All right. Yep. Well, your toe is where your intent is and where your direction is. So if I want to turn, I toe out, or I can turn and toe in. If you want to go straight, you bring your foot straight. So let's practice this. We're going to practice just the footwork, all right? So we're in that Wuji position, knees bent, tucking in the tailbone, head is lifted by the silk thread. The exercise we did right before we sat down was preparing us for this very thing, all right? That's one reason why I do that exercise. So we weight shift to the left, and then with the right foot, step out empty with the right foot. So there's no weight on the right foot. Now, keep plenty of space between your feet. So you're not walking on a balance beam. There you go. And you're not watching your feet, you're feeling your feet. And now shift the weight forward onto the right leg. Keep that back heel down and keep the body nice and straight. Back heel down. And now shift the weight back onto the left and pick up the right foot and come back to center. And now shift weight to the right. All the weight's on the right leg. Step out empty with the left foot. Now shift weight onto the left. Keep that back heel down and keep the feet rooted to the ground. Now shift the weight back onto the right. Pick up the left foot and come back to center. You've got long legs. Don't step out so far. That's going to help you, okay? Weight shifts to the left. Step out empty right foot. Keep plenty of space between your feet. You want that wide base to work from. Weight shifts to the right. Put about 70% of the weight on the right. Keep the back heel down. Shift the weight back onto the left. Bring the right foot back in. Back to the Wuji position again. Weight shifts to, pardon me? You want a minimum of 2 fist distance. So like if I took my fist and did this, that's the minimum distance you want between your feet. Yeah, that's good. Wider is going to be better, just like anything else. A wider base is going to give you more stability, but a wider base is also going to work your legs a little harder. So you got to find that balance. You know, I can go really wide like this and have a really wide base. Yep, yep, minimum 2 fists between your feet. Don't step out. Shorten your steps. You're tall. You've been using long strides all of your life. Now's the time to start shortening those strides up a little bit, okay? It's going to behoove you. Weight shifts to the left. Step out empty, right foot. Weight shifts to the right. Put about 70% of the weight on the right. Weight shifts back and come back to center. Weight shifts to the left. Step out empty, or I'm sorry, weight shifts right. I'm sorry, weight shifts right. Step out empty left. Keep plenty of space between your feet. Probably a little bit more space there. Excellent. And now shift weight left. 70% of the weight goes left. Try and keep that back heel down. And then weight shifts back and come back to center. Let's do that again. Weight shifts left. Step out empty right. Weight shifts right. Keep that back heel planted. Weight shifts back and come back to center. So pause for 1 second. One other thing that you want to learn to do is to shift the weight before you move the feet, right? So we step out empty, we shift weight. You guys are looking great with that. I see occasionally sometimes as the weight shifts back, you want to shift all of the weight back, get comfortable with the weight here, then pick the foot up. Don't do this where you immediately step back and then you have to make that desperation step to keep yourself in balance. You shift all the weight back and then you come back to center, right? So you're not doing this, just automatically picking the foot up, okay? Work on keeping your steps short, okay? That's gonna help you here. Weight shifts right, step out empty, left foot, and now weight shifts left. Good, I like that. Bow stance. Weight shifts back and come back to center. Excellent. All right, stay right there. I'm going to see if anybody's out here I'm going to make a, all right. Is this interesting, everyone? Okay. Because we could like shift to meditation now, or we could work on this a little more. And I'll do either one. Or we can do this for another 5. Why don't we do that? We'll do this for another 5 minutes and then do meditation for 5 minutes. Does that sound good? I'll teach you a way to do a short meditation. Okay. Because we can keep working on this and enhancing this. So the next thing to work on with this, I step out empty and I shift my weight. When I shift my weight, the weight shift comes from the hips. So when I weight shift forward, I don't do this to shift my weight forward. I do this to shift my weight forward. See the difference? So the movement actually comes from the hips. My head and shoulders just follow whatever my hips are doing, right? So if I only move my hips an inch, head and shoulders only move an inch. We don't want to get into the point where we're leaning out over our hips, all right? You can tell where somebody's weight is by watching their hips. So like looking at this from the side, I weight shift, I step out empty. You can see where my weight is because my hips are directly over that leg. That's where all of my weight is, and that's why this foot is empty. Okay, so let's practice that. From the Wuji position, we're going to weight shift left, step out empty with the right foot. Now, as you weight shift, don't step out too far. As you weight shift, push the hips forward, drive the hips forward as you weight shift forward, but keep that back heel down. And now, as you weight shift back, drive the hips backwards and come back to center. Now weight shift to the right. Step out empty with the left foot. Drive the hips forward to weight shift forward. Push the hips forward. Keep that back heel planted. And then drive the hips back to weight shift back. Only when you get the weight back, then pick up the front foot and come back to center. All right. I know it's a lot of things to think about, right? The cool thing is, though, if you keep working on this, it will become habit for you. And that's what we want to happen, is that you just keep working on this. So no longer will you be walking and doing this when you walk, but you'll walk and do this when you walk. All right. It's amazing the way this changes things. Um, but don't take as long of a stride because right, yeah, yes, yes, she is correct. Walk heel toe, but when you do this now, see, there's weight on this foot, and if I hit something slick with this foot, it's coming out from under me and I'm falling. But if I do this, this is empty. If I hit something slick, I can just pick the foot back up because I haven't shifted my weight yet. All right. One guy, he's a real tall guy. I want to say his name was Tim. Um, he he was a tall guy like you, and he said, you know, every morning I go and get my paper, and I've got a really steep driveway, and he said, of almost half the time I would fall getting my paper, and as soon as he learned this concept of the empty step forward, he quit falling. So it really makes a huge difference. All right. One other piece on this one. So we step out empty. As you shift weight, think about, you guys are of the generation, you pushed a car before, right? To like jump start a car. If you push a car, you'll push off of your back foot, right? If you're standing like this, you don't get any leverage off your front foot. You push all the way off the back foot. And that's what you're wanting to do. As you drive forward, you push down on the back foot to drive the hips forward. And then likewise, as you shift the weight back, playing tug of rope, you're going to drive off of that front foot to pull the foot, bring the weight back, right? You're going to push down on the front foot, drive down here to bring the weight back. All right. So if that helps you, think about driving off the back foot or driving off of the front foot. Okay. Yes, sir. Oh no, we don't want you to go forward. um, we get this down first, and then we do. I think you've done the under over walk with me, where we step out and we do this. Is the next point? I think you've done this with me before. We were doing this pre-COVID, where you step out. But once you get the bow stance, and once we have the basics down, where you're stepping correctly, then we graduate and we move on to this, which is teaching us even further and to make the full step. So, right, exactly, exactly, exactly. You didn't get out of there in one day. You won't get back in one day, but you keep working at it and you will. So let's try a little more. All right. Did I answer your question? Just keep practicing is one of the things. So weight shifts to the left, step out empty with the right foot. And now weight shifts right. 70% of the weight goes to the right. Good job. Weight shifts back. Don't move the feet. Just shift the weight and come back to center. Weight shifts to the right. Step out empty, left foot. Now shift 70% of the weight up on the left. And weight shifts back. Don't move the feet. Just shift the weight and come back to center. Beautiful. See how much you've learned already. Um, and I'm not being facetious when I say that. So one thing to note, when you're in this position, when you're in the bow stance, this should feel really solid. All right. This is actually one of the more stable positions to be in. It's a really stable position. All right. If it doesn't feel stable, do one or both of two things. You've either stepped out too far, so pull the front foot back, or you stepped out too narrow, widen your stance. All right. So you sometimes will have a tendency to step narrow, so that'd be a good one to check for you. You're pretty darn close. There you go. I like that. That's a little nicer right there. And you tend to step out too far. Your gentleman, your steps look pretty good. All right. Um, But see, this all goes back to that whole leg strength. To be able to step out empty, you've got to be able to balance all the weight on one foot to put this foot down empty. If you don't have the leg strength here, then you'll end up kind of sliding that foot out. And we want you to step out with that foot. So there's a lot of things to work with here. Excellent. There you go. And so the next thing, so let's go ahead and do that. Stay by your chair if you need to. So just to kind of expound on what Pat asked, we weight shift to the left, step out empty with the right foot. And now weight shift to the right. Now bring all of the weight to the right foot. So that back foot, don't move it yet. You go nice and slow. So now all the weight is on my right foot, all right? So bring that left foot forward, empty. Set it down on the ground, but no weight on it. Plenty of space between the feet. And now shift the weight onto the left. I get all my weight on the left so I can tap that right foot behind me. And then step out empty with that right foot. And then shift the weight onto the right foot. Bring all the weight onto the right. Get all the weight right so I can tap that left foot. Plenty of space between the feet. Step out empty with the left foot. And then shift the weight to the left. And there you go. That's how you start. That's the way you start moving it, breaking it out from just a bow stance to a walk. Okay? A great place to practice this is a hallway. We have to pull out another sign-up sheet for the next class, just so you know. Hi. Oh, okay. No problem. Yeah, no problem. No problem. We're just finishing up this first class. Hallways work really well because you got a wall to hold on to on either side. So, but you want to make sure it's an empty step forward and you go really, really slow. And then shift your weight. And then empty step and shift weight. Keep your steps short, keep your feet wide, keep that wide base. You should feel in control the whole time you're doing it. Okay? And again, we're not doing this, right? We're not doing that. We're doing this and shift, this and shift. Okay? So that can be your homework assignment. Okay? All right. We didn't get a chance to meditate today, but this was useful. I think it's useful for all 5 of you gentlemen. So, any questions? All right. Let's do our cool down exercises. Lightly punch, slap the legs. This is one of the things I tell my Parkinson's friends, slow down. All right? You've lived your life at a very fast pace. Most of you gentlemen have lived your life. Boom, boom, boom. Now it's time to slow down. Okay? Tighten up all the muscles of the body and relax. Tighten up the muscles. Keep that head up. Relax. And one more time, tighten up the muscles and relax. And gather chi. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. So when you expand Tai Chi out and you start doing forms in Tai Chi, what you discover is each movement is an empty step in one direction or another. So like part of the form, like a brush knee, empty step, shift weight to it. Empty step and shift weight. And then almost exactly what we were doing, a move called parry and punch, empty step, shift weight, empty step, shift weight, empty step backwards, shift weight, empty step forward, shift weight. And this is why Tai Chi is so helpful for people with Parkinson's, because it's teaching you a different way to move. All right? It's just, you said you've been doing it since you were 25. You're what, 30 years old now? So you've been doing this for 5 years now. So you've been doing this for a long time. So it's going to take a little while to break out of that. You've been watching your feet for a long time. It's going to take a little bit for you to break out from that. but you don't get mad at yourself. You're just like, all right, this is something I need to work on. You, you um, but the key is to start using your peripheral vision when you walk, not doing this when you walk, because that's not helping your posture, and that kind of reinforces the improper way to walk. But instead, like I'm looking straight ahead. I can see my toe with my peripheral vision right here, and so you learn to keep your head up when you walk, and so I'm looking straight ahead. Um, but I'm still watching the ground around me. And certainly if you get into, tough ground, you kind of slow down, look down, make sure. But again, it's that whole slowing down. You don't try and go faster. Um, One of the interesting story I think that talks about this lady was able to do an empty walk. She's a really neat lady. Now she does not have Parkinson's disease, but she was with her family in Nebraska, and they had a big family reunion, and she had filled up her plate and had her a cup of lemonade. She said it was lemonade. I'll believe her. And she was walking across the field, and she stepped in a hole that was that deep. She didn't spill anything. Most people would have broken their leg or their ankle by stepping into a hole like that. Because if you commit your weight, your body's going forward and you're not going to stop. You're going to end up breaking your leg. She didn't even spill anything, didn't even spill a drop of her lemonade. She's like, I stepped in the hole and went, uh-oh, and picked her foot back up and came back out of the hole again. That is doing an empty step. So, all right. Thank you, gentlemen. Great day. Great day today. Good job. I'm really glad that you brought that up. So I think that was helpful for everybody. I hope everybody found that helpful for you. So, all right. I'll see you. I might see you next week. I might have a doctor's appointment next week. So you might see Dennis next week. So, anyway, I'll tell him we were working on this, though. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Yeah. It's kind of scary.